Well, good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here, and it's week number 5 in the NFL, and happy game day. We're going to go ahead and do our pick segment here today to see who we think's going to win and who we think's going to lose. So we already had talked about earlier in the week the Rams versus the Seahawks. I thought the Seahawks were going to win. Didn't think it was going to be quite that close, but the Seahawks with Russell Wilson, who is an MVP candidate, is kind of getting on a roll. The only loss, the only blemish on their record is losing to New Orleans with Teddy Bridgewater. I know everybody's been joking the Dallas Cowboys because they lost to the New Orleans Saints with Teddy Bridgewater, but I got to tell you, those New Orleans Saints seem to be a team on a mission. Now, first up for me, of course, is my Dallas Cowboys against the Green Bay Packers. Man, Aaron Rodgers has owned the Dallas Cowboys pretty much in his career, going 1-7. Excuse me, the Cowboys going 1-7 against Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has never lost at AT&T. I believe that today is the day that the Dallas Cowboys send a message to the Green Bay Packers that they are past their prime and that the Dallas Cowboys are the new kids on the block. And I think Dak Prescott, Zeke Elliott, all of the Dallas Cowboys do not like that taste that they have in their mouth right now from that New Orleans game. Even though they had some things go against them and all that, they still had an opportunity, and I think the Dallas Cowboys get back on the track. So I'm, of course, picking the Dallas Cowboys, but what do you expect? I'm a Dallas Cowboy homer. The Washington Redskins at home versus New England. On paper, this looks to be a blowout. Now, New England's only favored by 6, which technically being on the road, that's really like 9. It's not the big 20-point spreads that you've seen before, and that may be because New England, of course, last week did not have an offensive touchdown and was in a dogfight with Buffalo. But I still believe that the cream rises to the top. New England's going to get the victory. But don't be surprised if the Redskins actually come out and actually play a decent game. Don't be surprised. Now, Kirk frickin' Cousins. Woo! The first NFL player to have a fully guaranteed contract. Yes, Kirk frickin' Cousins. I've lost to Dak Prescott 4 out of 4 times versus the New York Giants with, of course, their Danny Dimes, as they like to call him. I actually believe that New York gets the victory and surprises everybody and goes over 500. I think things are just bad right now between the quarterback and the receivers. When the quarterback has to apologize to the receivers, when you have receivers that are literally begging to get out of there, even though they're only one game out of first, yeah, that says a lot about a situation there, and it may continue to go downhill ugly. So taking the Giants on this one. That's right. I can't believe I'm taking the New York freaking Giants. Oh, if they win, those cockroaches will be all over the place. The Eagles at home against the Jets. Yeah. What? They're going to fit on the Eagles. Say what? We're picking the damn Eagles, okay? I hate to pick the Eagles, okay? But you know what? Don't be surprised if the Jets play really well. Don't be surprised. The Bears versus the Raiders. Bears 3-1 against the Raiders 2-2. They're in Oakland. Strange things sometimes happen in Oakland. I'm actually going to pick the Raiders on here. I know that sounds crazy because the Bears have that great defense. You got Khalil Mack coming back against the Raiders. But I just feel like something's going on with Oakland, and they're kind of turning some things around after being the laughingstock. Just saying. We got the 49ers Monday night against the Cleveland Browns. That's actually a big battle because it's 3-0 versus 3-1. I'm going to take the Browns on that one. We got Carolina versus the Jaguars. I think the Jaguars are actually turning things around right now. Even though Jalen Ramsey wants to get out of there, my prediction earlier in the season was when we first started hearing about Jalen Ramsey, that Jalen Ramsey gets traded someplace he really doesn't want to go and they don't make the playoffs. And the Jaguars continue to get better and make the playoffs. Gardner Minshew, dude, is actually playing better than any other rookie quarterback right now. I'm going to take the Jaguars on that one and that they go above 500. Then we've got the Titans going to Buffalo, playing the Bills that are surprising 3-1. I think Buffalo gets back on track and takes care of the Titans. We got the Bengals and the Cardinals in the Who Cares Bowl. Okay, we got at least one thing will happen. One of these teams will get a victory, or maybe not. The Cardinals have a half victory with the tie. I'm going to take the home team, of course, on that one, and pick, of course, the Cardinals. Then we've got put the kids and your life to bed game, of course. We've got the old school battle of defenses and everything else. It's not what it used to be. We got the Ravens versus the Steelers. I think the Steelers actually man up. They got a little momentum last week. I think that they're kind of turning things around. And I think Baltimore might be one of those teams that starts out September looking really, really good, but then starts sliding. We got the Falcons against the Texans. Really? Falcons, you stink. You're terrible. I think your coach gets fired by the end of the year. I'm going to take the Texans. Tampa Bay versus New Orleans. And most people will say, New Orleans, of course, definitely home. But what's interesting is Tampa Bay last year to start the season blew out the Saints. They're not afraid of them. And it is a divisional matchup. And you got to figure that New Orleans is ready for a little bit of a letdown. After beating Seattle and Seattle, have an emotional win over the Dallas Cowboys, which was a revenge game. Look for Tampa Bay to keep this one close, but I think New Orleans wins in the end. The Chargers versus Denver. The Chargers aren't looking as good as everybody thought they would thus far, but Denver, they stink. Take the Chargers. The Colts versus Kansas City. KC all day. But one thing I can guarantee you is the Miami Dolphins won't lose this week, y'all, because they're on a bye week. So that's my picks for the day. We'll see how they look, of course, after the games. And hopefully we get a few of these right. I'm Mark Holmes, and I got to go make some chili and check on my ribs because we're about an hour and a half before kickoff. I'll see you soon.